The engine was dying when I found my house. Hell, the whole place sounded like it was taking its last breath. The bulldozer just sat there, wheezing right in the center of what used to be my living room, like some wild animal caught in the act of a kill. And there she was, Karen Jennings, arms folded, standing over the wreckage, HOA president and self-appointed queen, acting like she hadn't just torn my world in half. You ever seen someone so smug they actually look bored by their own disaster? That was her, pretending none of it mattered. Not to me, not to anyone. But I was weirdly calm. Maybe it was shock, or maybe it was because I already knew how this would end. She didn't, not yet. And believe me, it was never an accident. No misunderstanding. It was a straight-up takeover. She just picked the wrong guy to steamroll. So, let me back up a sec. My name's Jared Hull. I'm a cop, Army vet, and I built that 2-acre house out here with my own hands, picked that chunk of desert because I thought it was untouchable, outside the reach of iron sand bluffs, the kind of HOA that acts more like a tiny, overfunded country than a neighborhood watch. Their president, Karen, strutted around with an iPad like it was a sheriff's badge, believed rules made her royalty. I'd seen her type before, comments at the gas station, dropping hints about improving the area if everyone followed one unified standard, which was her polite way of saying I was the problem. She didn't like having land she couldn't lord over. So, picture this. I'm driving home early from Tucson, something feels off, and then I see it, a storm of dust boiling over my property. The kind of dust, it only moves when something big and mechanical's tearing up the ground. My heart drops. I gun it up over the ridge behind my workshop, and there it is, a bulldozer blade ripping straight through my bedroom wall. And you know what? I don't panic. I don't even shout. I just park the truck, step out, badge hanging from my neck, sun in my eyes, and I yell not loud, but sharp enough to cut through engines, shut everything down. The whole site freezes. One contractor with a clipboard is shaking so hard you can hear the plastic rattling. We were told the structure was condemned, he yells. By who? I say, walking toward him, my boots crunching through drywall and broken dreams. Give me the name. Right then, Karen arrives, tailored khakis, hair perfectly blown out, sunglasses perched like she's selling me a mortgage on TV. She gives me that fake, syrupy smile. Officer Hull, we weren't expecting you today. No, I tell her. I bet you weren't. She flashes her tablet like it's gospel. Your property's been reclassified. Transition zone expansion, totally standard. You should have gotten the notices. Funny. I answer because I didn't. She just shrugs, one of those little tosses people do when they think they've already won. Behind her, the excavator guy is still grinning, looking at the hole he just carved into my house. Then I see it. My flag from Afghanistan, trampled in the dirt. That's when something cold settles in my chest. I just stare at Karen until her smile flickers. You crossed a line you can't uncross. I didn't have to yell. Sometimes the quiet is louder. That night, while she was probably at home planning her next community improvement, I was out there with a flashlight, taking photos, documenting every crack, every bent stud, every serial number on those machines. Patience of someone who knows real victories start slow. I lay my original deed next to the so-called demolition permit her guys gave me. The signatures didn't match. The city stamp was a year out of date. The parcel number wasn't even the right format. I didn't bother getting mad. I just got thorough. Next morning, I show up at the county development office, find Harris, the deputy director. Looks like he hasn't slept in days, coffee stain blooming on his shirt. I slide the paperwork over. He barely glances at it before saying, "This is fake." He doesn't even need to look twice. He prints out a statement. No demolition permit, no reclassification, and absolutely no HOA authority over my land. Suddenly, it all comes into focus. Karen didn't just overstep. She forged documents, lied to officials, filed a bogus annexation like I'd ever volunteer to join her little fiefdom. Hired some phantom, Jonathan Keller, to sign off as my representative. And the county clerk? He remembers. Karen dropped off the paperwork herself, labeled urgent. Something inside me knots up. She thinks I'm just some backwater cop, easy to intimidate. She doesn't know who she's messing with. That night, I get a voicemail. Artificial, disguised, probably from someone inside her camp. Check the foundation for civic progress. Look at March filings. She paid $25,000. A bribe, funneled through a charity, the whole 9 yards. By morning, I'm at the assistant DA's office, dropping everything I've got. Permits, deeds, money trails. She listens, then agrees to open a full investigation and help secure a warrant. Most people would back off at this point, right? Not Karen. People like her don't retreat, they double down. Suddenly, the HOA files a complaint, says I threaten contractors with a gun, says I'm unstable. They run stories in the press about unsafe landowners obstructing community progress. Karen even goes on TV, wrapped in a flag scarf, talking about harmony and safety. I watch her from my busted-up living room, ceiling dust falling into my coffee, and think, if she wants to fight in public, fine. I got dashcam footage, emails, fake permits, everything. I sent it to a journalist who's famous for exposing government abuse. He runs a story, the HOA that bulldozed a cop's home. Overnight, neighbors start reaching out. Stories about solar panels ripped off roofs, cars towed, fines for the color of a mailbox. Turns out, Karen's reign has left a trail of angry, scared people who finally see a chance to speak up. She must have felt the tide turning because the next move is desperate and ugly. A patch of scorched dirt behind my garage, stink of accelerant, a melted beam on my solar frame. Arson. Does it scare me? No, it just sharpens me. The next morning, I find scratches around my front door lock, sloppy, threatening. Maybe a warning, maybe a plea. I call the sheriff. This isn't random vandalism, I tell him. It's coordinated. He nods. Ready to take this to the state? Damn right I am. Within 2 days, I got a court order letting the sheriff secure the whole HOA headquarters for evidence. We show up. Karen's there, blocking the door, all fire and fake authority. You can't come in, she barks. I just hold up a warrant. Move. Her fear's all over her face. Desks cleared, computers wiped, but the tech guy clones their server in minutes. I head for the storage room. Old plans, memos, a folder labeled Halt Redistricting 2023. Emails. He's just a beat cop. Demolish before he returns. Easier to ask forgiveness. And then I find the smoking gun, a USB stick wedged behind a printer with 2 years' worth of internal emails. Karen bragging. No one listens to desert people. Just knock it down first. Like it's a joke. I send it all to the DA, file civil and criminal suits. Suddenly, the HOA isn't some unbreakable fortress. It's a house of cards. Board members start jumping ship. 2 quit. 1 flees the state. Another tries to throw Karen under the bus. But you can't outrun the truth. Pressure breaks the whole illusion. The county prosecutor issues subpoenas. Then a city whistleblower steps forward. Karen tried to bribe them for paperwork flexibility. That's the nail in her coffin. The state greenlights RICO charges, treats the HOA as a criminal racket. Karen gets arrested in the parking lot of a wine bar, gym bag in hand, sunglasses still on. And for the first time, she looks small. Not weak, just like someone who finally realizes there's a world outside their little kingdom. Civil trial comes next. It's not a fancy courtroom, plain walls, squeaky chairs, but you can feel the weight of it. Jury looks at everything. The forged papers, the emails, the blueprints, the footage of a bulldozer ripping through my house while a contractor laughs. When I testify, I don't yell. I just say, I built that house myself. They tried to erase me with lies. 5 hours later, the jury comes back, unanimous. They dissolve the HOA. I get damages. Karen gets 12 years. Walking out of that courthouse into the golden desert evening, it feels like the land finally lets out a breath it's been holding. No celebration, no fireworks, just this deep, clear stillness you only get after a long, ugly fight. Sometimes at night, I still hear that bulldozer, the groan of metal giving way. But it doesn't haunt me. It reminds me why I never let silence turn into surrender. And if you take away anything from this, let be this. Every neighborhood war's got somebody who thinks control equals power. But out here, power belongs to the one who stands their ground, who won't bow. That's the only rule that ever really matters. So, what would you have done if it was your home? Would you have fought or just let it go? Drop your thoughts below. Tell me where you stand on justice, right, wrong, or somewhere in between. I want to hear your stories. And if you've ever stared down a bully and refused to blink, well, you already know some battles are worth every scar.